So, okay, it is now transmitting.
Excellent.
Okay, guys, so here I am, Alex Pope, and today with me, joining again, is Captain Benjamin Gill. There he is, and today we are actually talking just in English, because someone left a comment asking us to do so. So, here he goes, Benjamin Gill with you guys.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. So today we are here to talk a little bit about the part 1 of the test and the part 4. So basically, I'm going to answer 2 questions that Pope is going to ask me, and I'm going to ask him 2 questions about the part 1 of the test, the aviation topics. And we are going to describe 1 picture each. So Pope is going to describe a picture of a helicopter test, and I'm going to describe a picture of an airplane in volcanic ash.
All right, guys, and so let's start. And by the way, there is a 30 seconds delay between what we are saying and what you guys are seeing. So it is not completely live, it's almost live. So if you guys want to participate, there is a chat box. You guys can leave a message, comment. I believe it's to the right of the screen, but I'm not sure. It can be different according to the device that you are using. Send us a message, ask us. If you want to ask us in English, ask us in English. If you want to send a question in Portuguese, feel free to do so as well. I'll be reading here, and when I read it, of course, I'll talk about it. But like I said, there is a little bit of a delay, okay? So if you send a message, just wait for us to read the message and talk about it. So let's start. Me and Benjamin, we are going to do some back and forth questions and answers here. So I believe Benjamin has a question for me. Go ahead, man.
Okay, Pope. So today I'm going to start asking you a question here. A common question of part 1 is about what is the importance of English for aviation?
Well, English is, of course, very important in aviation in general. And I believe the importance of English actually transcends the ICAO test. The ICAO test is, of course, very important because it allows the pilots to fly internationally and to, be ready for voice communications, especially if you have any kind of trouble, because it really addresses emergencies and all that. But I would say that English in general is very, very important for all things related to aviation. You can have access to more material. You have all the agencies, the aviation agencies around the world publishing documents in English. You also have the manufacturers, publishing all the documents in English. Everything is in English in aviation. I mean, just take a look at the cockpit. You will not find a button in Portuguese, even though you're flying in Brazil. And even if you're flying an Embraer aircraft, the manuals, the quick reference handbook, the checklists, everything is in English. Every button, every call out. So English is, of course, of enormous importance in aviation. And now I am good. Are you satisfied with my answer?
Excellent,
Benjamin?
excellent answer.
Do I keep my ICAO level 6? I hope
Maybe
so.
we can improve a little bit, right?
I think I'll get an ICAO level 7 maybe. I've been practicing so much. If I take the test nowadays, I'll get the 7. But anyway, let's continue. Captain, I'm going to ask you a question. So a very basic question that they tend to ask is, about the background of the pilot. So Benjamin, go ahead and tell me a little bit of your background as a pilot, your past experiences, how many flight hours you have, and, where have you been flying? Just tell me your background in aviation.
Okay, so basically my experience started in 2011 at Paraná Air Club, where I got my private pilot's license, and then I got my commercial pilot's license, and twin engines ratings, also the IFR rating. So then I had the opportunity to fly in executive aviation. I got my first job where I flew a Piper Navajo and a Mitsubishi used for executive transport. They are light aircraft, and I had the opportunity to fly Citation CJ4, which is a light jet used in executive aviation. And then I started flying Cheyenne 2, which is a turboprop aircraft. And nowadays I have been flying a Cessna 182, which is a light aircraft used for skydiving operations.
All right.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Yeah,
you want to ask me
now
another
let me ask you
question?
another question then. Okay, so
are you sure?
Tell me
longer than 7 minutes.
Yeah, I think, well, but it's okay. Let me just ask you a last question then, and then before we move on to the pictures, okay?
All right, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so Pope, tell me which phase you think is more critical, landing or takeoff?
Well, I believe they're both critical in different ways. I would say that neither the landing or the takeoff are, you know, more critical in general. I think they have differences that makes both stages a little bit critical compared to cruise flight, of course. I would say that during the takeoff, the main problem is that you don't have altitude and speed. And these are the most important things for flying, because you need aerodynamic response from the flight controls. And, well, basically, for you to fly, like Bob Hoover used to say, you need these two things, either excessively having altitude or speed. And then you can manage these things. You know, you take from one and you put on the other. But basically, if you don't have speed and altitude, you are already very, you know, dependent and relying on your engines or engine. That's even worse. So what happens is that during a takeoff stage, you are always vulnerable to malfunctions. And if you have any kind of failures or engine failures, you are, you know, you have insufficient altitude and speed, and your response time is, you know, almost zero for any kind of critical emergencies. On a landing procedure, on the other hand, I would say that you have difficulties sometimes handling the aircraft if you have challenging conditions to land. But if you've been flying the aircraft for a long time, chances are that you are not going to have a malfunction right now during the landing procedure. So it is a busy time in the cockpit, but from the perspective of malfunctions and critical emergencies, I would say that as critical as taking off. So yeah, that's my opinion. Let's do some pictures, Benjamin. Time is short. We are already, you know, we are talking here already for 7 minutes. Let's see if we have any kind of questions from our spectators, but then we do some picture descriptions, right?
Excellent.
Excellent. All right, let me just ask you a question while I try to find the buttons here to do everything. This is, you know, second time broadcasting. So, Benjamin, tell me a little bit about your experiences during your first courses to become a pilot, you know, your initial courses.
Could you clarify the question?
Yeah, tell me a little bit about, you know, your time at the flight school. How was it? How did you feel? You know, did you have fun? Was it difficult? Tell me a little bit about your student pilot time, the time that you were a student pilot.
I got it. Personally, saying that the moments that I had during my private pilot course were not so difficult. You have to study a lot, especially when you think about navigation, where you have lots of maths and you have to calculate a lot of things as well. I remember that I had some difficulty on regulations because you need to memorize some kinds of regulations and some tables, and you have to memorize some numbers and some in like colors of the lights and other regulations in general. So as it's a little bit more bureaucratic, it's a little bit more difficult because you have to memorize some stuffs. But
all right. Let's go to the picture description. What do you think? That was me just looking for the picture right now, Benjamin. That was good. Okay. You know that, and actually this is worth mentioning, don't you think? Because it's now written in the ICAO test documentation that if the examiner interrupts you, it's not a problem. So what I just did right now as the examiner asking the question, Benjamin is, you know, elaborating his answer and trying to show himself communicative. It's not a problem for the examiner to interrupt you, okay? This is not in any way, shape, or form penalizing the student. Is that right?
Exactly. Another thing that you have to keep in mind, who is watching here, is that I asked Pope to clarify the question because we didn't prepare the questions. And I wanted to know what exactly he wanted to know from me. During the test, you can ask to clarify in case you think it's necessary.
All right, now picture description, guys. I want you, Benjamin, to describe this picture to me. This is a new picture, guys, by the way. It has been reported by our students that picture with volcanic. Oh, I'm not giving you the vocabulary. Sorry. Go ahead, man. Describe this picture.
Okay. So In this picture, I can see an aircraft stopped at the stand, and I noticed that the aircraft is covered by volcanic ash. There is a person that is standing on a stair that is located in front of the right engine. He's wearing a yellow vest, and probably he's covering the engine. In front of this guy, it's possible to see that there is a vehicle, and probably it's the vehicle that is carrying this person. On the right of this picture, we can realize there is a stair, an air stair, and we notice that the background of this picture shows very restricted visibility that maybe was caused due to the volcanic ash that is occurring here at in this situation. And that's what I can see in this picture.
All right, good job. Now, Benjamin, go ahead and give me a picture.
Okay, I would like you to open the picture of the helicopter that had the tail rotor strike. Do you have it there?
All right, yeah, I have it here somewhere. Just give me a second. All right, that one. Okay, so that's my picture. Is that it? All right, so in this picture, I see, well, I see a military helicopter apparently that apparently had a collision against a vulture, a very large bird. It seems like this bird went inside the cockpit through the windshield of this helicopter after a high-speed collision. It is a very dangerous situation because in several occasions when bird strikes like that happen, it ended up causing sometimes even a fatality. It ended up even killing the pilot sometimes, or causing the pilot to lose his sights, his vision. So it is a very problematic situation. It is also very difficult to deal with a situation like that because we tend to be very fast when comparing to the birds. So when we approach the birds, most times we don't really see them. And I gotta tell you something, some birds are very, very unpredictable. You think they're going to keep flying straight and they actually don't. You think they are going to dive and they don't. So it is very difficult to avoid birds in many ways, from seeing them and avoiding flying next to them and near them, and also to take evasive action against the birds. So that's what I see here in this picture, the aftermath of a severe bird strike.
Excellent. All right. Okay. Well, I think that we are done then. We described the two pictures. We answered some questions of part one. What about the questions? Do we have any questions on YouTube or?
Yeah, man. I've been sending messages here on the sidebar, but no one actually sent any kind of questions. So I guess that's it for today. But we have 18 spectators, so yeah, success, right? That's nice.
Thank you very much, everyone who is watching our transmission here.
Yeah, so that's it for today. Let's shut off the engines. I have to get back home. It was a very exhausting day here at Vector, Inglês ICAO. If you guys want to have classes, presential classes here in Rio, that's with me. If you want to have classes, presential classes, or Skype class as well with Benjamin, there he is. So it was a pleasure to have you here again, Benjamin. I hope to go to your channel the next time you can host this broadcast yourself, so the video will be uploaded to your channel. And that's it, guys. Nice having you all here. Now Benjamin will say his goodbyes.
Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for watching our transmission here tonight. Next week, we are going to post a new transmission talking about the part 2 and part 3 of the test. And we're going to comment a little bit about the modification on the part 2 of the test. And if you have any questions or anything you would like to ask us, please comment on the channel or on the video that is going to be available for you to watch later.
All right, guys. See you guys later. Bye-bye.